Today on December 14th, Archangel Michael says, "I saw your future, and I couldn't stop." Don't scroll, please listen to this, because this message is for you, and your heart needs this right now more than you even realize, and the fact that you're here, reading these words at this exact moment, is not random, not coincidence, not just another video or message passing by. It is alignment, it is timing, it is divine intention unfolding right in front of you. So listen to this and stay with me, because Archangel Michael is stepping forward today with urgency, protection, and truth. And he says, "I saw your future, and I couldn't stop, because what is coming toward you is so different from what you've been through that it demanded attention, it demanded intervention, it demanded reassurance, and your heart needs this right now because you've been quietly carrying exhaustion that no one sees, smiling when you're tired, staying strong when you wanted to rest, holding on when it would have been easier to let go." And listen to this message is for you because Michael saw the nights you questioned everything, the moments you asked why things kept falling apart just when you were trying to do better, the times you felt like you were always the one giving more, waiting longer, hoping harder, and he wants you to know that none of that was ignored, none of that was wasted, and none of that was accidental, because every delay was protection, every closed door was redirection, and every heartbreak was refining you for what you're now ready to receive. So don't scroll, because your heart needs this right now. You are in the middle of a spiritual awakening, even if it doesn't look like peace yet, even if it feels emotional, heavy, confusing, or lonely. Awakening often feels like everything familiar falling away before anything new arrives, and that's why you've been more sensitive lately, more aware of energy, more affected by words, silence, distance, and truth. And listen to this, that's not weakness. That's discernment activating. That's your soul waking up and saying, "I can't pretend anymore." And if you've been seeing angel numbers like 1111 when you're thinking about your future, for 44 when you're trying to stay strong, 55 when things feel unstable, those are confirmations that you are being guarded, guided, and prepared, not punished. And this message is for you because Archangel Michael says he saw you standing in your future calmer, lighter, more at peace, smiling without forcing it, breathing without heaviness in your chest, and when he saw that version of you, he knew you needed to hear this now, before doubt convinces you to settle, before fear convinces you to go back to what drained you, before loneliness convinces you to accept less than alignment. So listen to this, don't scroll, because someone listening to this has been holding on to a connection that feels confusing, inconsistent, emotionally draining, and your intuition has been whispering to you at night, during quiet moments, during prayers, saying, "This doesn't feel right anymore," and you've tried to ignore it because letting go feels scary. Because starting over feels exhausting, but your heart needs this right now. Michael says the discomfort you feel is not a sign you're wrong, it's a sign you've outgrown the energy you're attached to, and growth always creates tension before release, and release always makes room for something better. And listen to this, because this is where destiny comes in. Archangel Michael saw love in your future, but not the kind that keeps you guessing, not the kind that triggers your anxiety, not the kind that makes you question your worth. He saw soulmate energy, a connection rooted in peace, mutual effort, emotional safety, and spiritual recognition. And if you've been feeling lonely even when surrounded by people, it's because your soul has been waiting for recognition, not attention. And this message is for you because the universe will not send your soulmate while your hands are still holding on to what no longer aligns, and that's why things have felt slow, paused, or quiet, because divine timing is precise, not delayed. And don't scroll, because over the next days and weeks, signs will intensify, clarity will sharpen, conversations will shift, and you may hear a name, receive a message, or feel an inner knowing so strong you can't ignore it, and that will be your confirmation. And your heart needs this right now because Michael says you are protected in ways you can't see, shielded from outcomes you prayed to avoid, guided away from paths that looked right but would have broken your spirit, and the reason your past didn't work out the way you hoped is because your future required a stronger, wiser, more self-aware version of you, and that version is here now, reading this, feeling this, awakening into truth. And listen to this, don't scroll, because the fear you feel is not a warning, it's the edge of expansion, and everything meaningful in your life is about to change, not all at once, not loudly, but permanently, and one day soon you will look back at this exact moment and realize this was the turning point, the moment your intuition got louder than your fear, the moment divine protection became visible, the moment you stopped settling and started aligning. And Michael's final message for you right now is this: you are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not too late, you are exactly where you need to be for what's coming next, so stay open, stay grounded, trust the calm over the chaos, trust the signs, trust your intuition, and remember, your future is already watching you, and it's closer than you think. Don't scroll. Listen to this carefully, because if you are still here right now, it means your spirit is leaning in, and your heart needs this right now in a way that words alone can barely carry, because something is shifting deeply within you and around you at the same time, and you've been feeling it even if you haven't fully understood it yet. This message is for you, not by chance, not by algorithm, not by accident, but by alignment, because the season you are in is one of revelation, and revelation doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it comes through emotional pressure, through exhaustion, through the feeling that you can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not. And listen to this: what you've been feeling lately is not confusion. It's clarity rising before your life fully rearranges to match it. Your heart needs this right now because you've been standing at a crossroads emotionally, torn between what feels familiar and what feels true, and the universe has been patiently waiting for you to notice the difference, and now you are, which is why your tolerance for inconsistency has dropped, why you feel drained faster around certain people, why silence feels louder than words, and why your intuition keeps nudging you when your mind tries to override it. Don't scroll, because this part matters. Your intuition is not betraying you, it's protecting you, and it's grown stronger because you've grown stronger, because you've survived things that once would have broken you, because you learned to listen even when answers weren't immediate, and because you stayed open even after disappointment tried to close you off. This message is for you because the universe has been communicating through signs that are too consistent to ignore. Angel numbers appearing at emotional moments, repeated songs that mirror your thoughts, sudden memories resurfacing so you can finally release them, moments of calm that arrive unexpectedly after long periods of tension, and these are not random, they are confirmations that you are moving out of a cycle and into alignment. Your heart needs this right now because you may still feel fear creeping in, fear of letting go, fear of being alone, fear of choosing differently and wondering, what if? But fear is always loudest right before expansion, and expansion always requires a leap that logic alone cannot justify. Listen to this, don't scroll. There is a deep energetic separation happening between you and what no longer matches your frequency, and that separation may feel like distance, like silence, like emotional detachment, or like a sudden loss of interest in things you once fought for, but that doesn't mean you failed, it means you graduated, it means the lesson has been learned, and the universe no longer needs to repeat it. This message is for you because you are being prepared for a level of connection that requires emotional honesty, self-respect, and peace, not survival instincts, not overthinking, not constant reassurance, and that preparation can feel lonely because growth often happens in quiet spaces where distractions fall away and truth becomes unavoidable. Don't scroll, because here is something your heart needs right now. Love is not meant to feel like anxiety, love is not meant to feel like confusion, love is not meant to require you to abandon yourself, and the reason past connections felt so intense is because they were mirrors, not matches, reflections of wounds that needed healing, not partners meant to walk with you forward. Your heart needs this right now because soulmate energy doesn't arrive in chaos, it arrives in alignment, and alignment feels calm at first, almost unfamiliar, because your nervous system is learning a new language, one where peace replaces anticipation and consistency replaces guessing, and that shift takes time, but it is happening. Listen to this, don't scroll. There is someone moving closer to your life energetically, someone whose presence will feel grounding rather than overwhelming, someone who won't need you to perform or prove your worth, someone who recognizes you without effort, and you will know it's real because your body will relax instead of brace, your mind will quiet instead of race, and your heart will feel safe instead of uncertain. This message is for you because you've been questioning whether you're asking for too much, whether your standards are unrealistic, whether choosing yourself will cost you connection. But the truth is choosing yourself filters out what cannot meet you, and what cannot meet you was never meant to stay. Don't scroll, because the universe is watching how you respond to this moment of clarity, not to judge you, but to match you, and when you choose self-respect over emotional attachment, you send a signal that you are ready for reciprocity, and reciprocity responds quickly to aligned energy. Your heart needs this right now because the waiting you've endured wasn't punishment, it was preparation, and preparation often feels like stillness before movement, like silence before clarity, like emptiness before arrival, and if things have felt slow or paused, it's because the universe is ensuring that what arrives can stay. Listen to this, don't scroll. Over the next stretch of time, you may notice shifts that feel subtle but powerful. Conversations ending without drama, emotional ties loosening without force, opportunities appearing that feel natural rather than forced, moments of peace that arrive without explanation, and these are signs that alignment is taking hold. This message is for you because you are learning to trust what feels calm instead of what feels familiar. And that is a brave choice, one that changes the trajectory of your life, even if no one applauds it right now. Your heart needs this right now because you've been carrying the weight of almosts, of what-ifs, of unanswered questions, and closure is finally arriving, not always through words, but through understanding, through acceptance, through the quiet decision to move forward without reopening old wounds. Don't scroll, because the universe is not finished with you, it is just beginning to respond to the version of you that honors boundaries, listens to intuition, and chooses peace without apology. Listen to this. Everything that felt like loss was actually making room, everything that fell away was clearing space, and everything that confused you was teaching you discernment, and now that discernment will guide you toward connections, opportunities, and love that align with who you are now, not who you were. Your heart needs this right now because the next chapter of your life will not be built on struggle, it will be built on stability, honesty, and mutual effort, and when it arrives, it will feel less like fireworks and more like home, less like urgency and more like certainty. Don't scroll, stay with this feeling, because the clarity you're experiencing right now is the foundation for everything that comes next, and one day you will look back at this exact moment and realize this was when you stopped fighting yourself and started trusting the path unfolding beneath your feet, and that decision, quiet, internal, deeply personal, changed everything. Don't scroll. Stay with me, because if you're hearing this right now, your soul is already listening, and your heart needs this right now more than you may be willing to admit, because something profound is happening beneath the surface of your life, something that doesn't announce itself loudly but makes itself known through feeling, through intuition, through that quiet sense that you can't go back to who you used to be, even if part of you is tempted to. And listen to this. This message is for you. Because you've reached a point where pretending no longer works, where ignoring your inner voice costs too much, where staying the same feels more painful than changing, and that is not a breakdown, that is a breakthrough in disguise. You've been noticing how your reactions are different now, how certain words hit deeper, how certain energies feel heavier, how you can no longer tolerate being misunderstood or undervalued, and don't scroll, because this matters. This sensitivity is not weakness, it's awareness, it's the sign that your spirit is awake and no longer willing to accept what once felt normal but was never aligned. Your heart needs this right now because you've been doing the hardest work quietly, the inner work no one claps for, the kind that requires honesty with yourself, forgiveness for your past, and courage to imagine a future that doesn't repeat old patterns. And listen to this, that work is not unseen, even if it feels lonely, because the universe responds to internal shifts before external ones, and that's why things may feel paused, slow, or uncertain on the outside while everything is rearranging within you. Don't scroll, because the signs you've been seeing are not random, they are confirmations layered into your everyday life. Numbers repeating when you're thinking about your direction, sudden emotional releases that feel cleansing rather than overwhelming, moments of peace that arrive unexpectedly after long periods of tension, dreams that feel vivid and symbolic. All of these are signals that you are transitioning out of an old cycle and into something new, even if the new hasn't fully revealed itself yet. This message is for you because you've been questioning whether you're doing the right thing, whether listening to your intuition is risky, whether choosing yourself will cost you connection, but your heart needs this right now. The only connections that are threatened by your growth are the ones that relied on your silence, your self-doubt, or your overgiving, and what's meant for you will not be confused by your boundaries, it will respect them. Listen to this, don't scroll. There is a recalibration happening in how you experience love, and that's why intensity without consistency no longer excites you, why mixed signals feel exhausting rather than intriguing, why you crave depth but also peace. And that craving is not unrealistic, it's aligned, because aligned love doesn't trigger your nervous system, it soothes it. And the fact that you're starting to recognize that difference means you're ready for something healthier. Your heart needs this right now because there is a shift from survival-based attachment to conscious connection taking place. And that shift can feel uncomfortable because it requires letting go of the belief that love has to hurt, that effort has to be unequal, that you have to prove your worth through endurance. And listen to this, those beliefs are dissolving because they no longer serve the person you're becoming. Don't scroll, because you may notice that as you change internally, some people feel farther away, conversations feel flatter, connections feel less engaging, and that can stir sadness or doubt, but distance doesn't always mean loss. Sometimes it means alignment correcting itself, sometimes it means space being created for something that can actually meet you where you are now. This message is for you because you are being prepared for a connection that reflects your growth, not your wounds, someone who doesn't need you to explain your boundaries, who doesn't take your emotional intelligence for granted, who doesn't confuse mystery with inconsistency, and when that connection enters your life, it will feel different in a way that's almost quiet, almost ordinary, but deeply grounding. And you'll realize how much energy you used to spend bracing for disappointment. Listen to this, don't scroll. Your intuition has become sharper because you've learned to trust it through experience, not theory, and that means when something feels off now, it's not anxiety, it's information, and when something feels calm, it's not boring, it's safe. And that distinction is guiding you even when you don't consciously realize it. Your heart needs this right now because the universe is responding to the version of you that no longer chases, no longer convinces, no longer waits for potential to turn into reality, and that response may show up as sudden clarity, as emotional detachment from what once consumed you, as opportunities that feel natural rather than forced, and those shifts are signs that alignment is taking hold. Don't scroll, because there will be moments where you question the process, where old fears whisper that you're alone, that you're missing out, that you should go back to what's familiar, and in those moments, remember how far you've come, remember the peace you've tasted, remember the strength it took to get here, because familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. This message is for you because you are learning that closure doesn't always come from conversations, sometimes it comes from understanding, from acceptance, from choosing not to reopen wounds that have already taught you what you needed to know, and that choice is powerful, even if it feels quiet. Listen to this, don't scroll. Everything that has fallen away recently did so to make room, not to leave you empty, and emptiness is not a void, it's space, and space is where new things can arrive, where aligned connections can form, where peace can settle in. Your heart needs this right now because you've been wondering if the waiting will end, if the clarity will come, if the effort will pay off, and while timelines can't always be predicted, alignment always delivers, and it delivers in ways that feel right rather than rushed. Don't scroll, because the universe is not asking you to do more, it's asking you to trust more, to listen more, to honor what your body and spirit are telling you, and that trust is what unlocks the next phase. This message is for you because you are no longer who you were when the journey began, and the life that's unfolding ahead of you requires this version of you, aware, grounded, discerning, open but protected, and as you move forward, you'll start to see how every ending, every delay, every redirection was shaping you for something that could actually last. Listen to this, don't scroll. What's ahead will not require you to abandon yourself, it will meet you in truth, in calm, in mutual effort, and when it arrives, you'll understand why everything unfolded the way it did, and you'll realize that this moment, right now, was one of the quiet turning points that changed everything. Don't scroll. Stay with me, because if you're hearing this now, it's because your spirit is leaning forward and your heart needs this right now in a way that feels both tender and urgent, like something inside you recognizes truth before your mind fully catches up. And listen to this, this message is for you, not because you were searching, but because alignment has a way of finding you when you're finally ready to receive it. Lately you've been feeling a strange mix of exhaustion and clarity, haven't you? Like you're tired of carrying what no longer fits, yet calm in a way that surprises you, and that's because a deeper shift is settling into your nervous system, teaching you the difference between chaos and connection, between attachment and alignment. And don't scroll, because this matters. What you're experiencing right now is not a setback, it's stabilization, the moment where your soul stops fighting and starts trusting. Your heart needs this right now because you've spent so long being the strong one, the understanding one, the one who waits, forgives, adapts, and holds space, and while that strength kept you going, it also taught you to ignore your own needs, and now your intuition is asking to be heard, not whispered over, not explained away, but honored. And listen to this, honoring your intuition doesn't make you cold, it makes you congruent. This message is for you because you're beginning to notice how your body reacts to truth faster than your mind does, how peace feels expansive and anxiety feels contracting, how calm doesn't need to convince you of anything. And don't scroll, because that awareness is guiding you even when it feels subtle, even when nothing dramatic is happening on the outside, because transformation often looks quiet before it looks obvious. Your heart needs this right now because there's been a grieving process happening under the surface, grief not just for people or situations, but for versions of yourself you had to outgrow, for dreams that had to change shape, for timelines that didn't unfold the way you imagined. And grief doesn't mean you failed, it means you cared deeply, and caring deeply is not something to be ashamed of. Listen to this, don't scroll. Grief and growth can coexist, and they often do right before alignment locks in, and that's why you may feel emotional one moment and grounded the next, reflective at night and hopeful in the morning, because your inner world is integrating lessons instead of repeating them. This message is for you because the signs have been consistent. Numbers repeating when you're thinking about your next step, moments of synchronicity that feel too precise to dismiss, conversations that end naturally instead of painfully, sudden clarity about what you no longer want, and these are not coincidences, they are confirmations that your energy has shifted and the universe is responding accordingly. Your heart needs this right now because the way you approach love is changing, not because you've hardened, but because you've healed enough to recognize what doesn't feel right anymore, and that recognition can feel lonely before it feels liberating, because it requires you to stop romanticizing inconsistency and start valuing peace. And listen to this, peace may feel unfamiliar at first, but it's not empty, it's spacious. And space is where healthy connection grows. Don't scroll, because this part is important. What you're being prepared for is not a repeat of the past with a different face, it's a new pattern entirely, one built on mutual effort, emotional safety, and spiritual recognition, and the reason it hasn't rushed in is because rushing was never alignment, it was anxiety trying to control timing. This message is for you because you've been asking yourself whether you're asking for too much, whether your standards are unrealistic, whether choosing calm over intensity means settling, but your heart needs this right now. The right connection will never make you feel like you're too much for wanting clarity, consistency, and care, and anything that makes you feel guilty for having needs is not aligned with your growth. Listen to this, don't scroll. There is a subtle magnetism returning to your life, not the kind that comes from chasing or proving, but the kind that comes from grounded self-respect, and you may notice people responding differently to you, conversations feeling easier, opportunities appearing without force, and that's because your energy is coherent now, it matches what you're calling in. Your heart needs this right now because patience has been your teacher, even when you didn't want the lesson, and patience has taught you to sit with discomfort without numbing, to wait without self-betrayal, to trust without certainty, and those skills are not small, they are foundational for the life you're stepping into. Don't scroll, because the universe is not asking you to do more, it's asking you to allow more, to receive without suspicion, to open without overextending, to say yes without abandoning yourself, and that balance is what you've been practicing through every boundary you set and every choice you made to walk away from what drained you. This message is for you because the next chapter of your life will feel less dramatic and more deliberate, less reactive and more intentional, and you might mistake that calm for boredom if you're not used to stability, but stability is where trust grows, where love deepens, where purpose becomes sustainable. Listen to this, don't scroll. There will be moments ahead where you're tempted to question the process, to wonder if you should go back, to reopen doors that closed quietly, and in those moments, remember how far you've come, remember the peace you've cultivated, remember that familiarity is not fulfillment, and choosing yourself is not loneliness, it's alignment. Your heart needs this right now because you are not behind, you are not late, and you are not missing out. You are exactly where you need to be for what's meant to meet you, and what's meant to meet you will recognize the version of you that knows their worth without needing to announce it. Don't scroll, because as this phase settles, you'll start to feel a steadiness that doesn't depend on external validation, a confidence that doesn't need comparison, a hope that doesn't feel fragile, and that steadiness is the foundation for everything that's coming next. This message is for you because the quiet you've been experiencing is not emptiness, it's incubation, the space where intentions take root and alignment solidifies, and when things begin to move, they will move in ways that feel right rather than rushed. Listen to this, don't scroll. Trust the calm, trust the signs, trust the inner knowing that's grown louder than fear. Because you didn't come this far to repeat what you've already outgrown, you came this far to receive what matches who you are now, and that receiving begins with staying present, staying open, and staying true to what feels aligned in your body, your heart, and your spirit, because the path unfolding in front of you is not asking you to sacrifice yourself, it's inviting you to finally meet yourself fully. And from that place, everything else begins to align. Don't scroll, stay right here with me, because if you're listening now, it's because your spirit has already leaned in and your heart needs this right now in a way that feels almost tender, almost overwhelming, like something deep inside you knows this moment matters, even if you can't fully explain why. And listen to this, this message is for you. Because you didn't come this far just to turn back or tune out when things finally started making sense. Lately you've been feeling a quiet but undeniable shift, haven't you? Like the noise of the world doesn't pull you the same way, like your tolerance for confusion, inconsistency, and emotional chaos has worn thin, and that's not you becoming cold, that's you becoming clear. And clarity often feels uncomfortable at first because it asks you to stop romanticizing what no longer aligns. Your heart needs this right now because you've spent so much time learning how to survive emotionally. Adapting, understanding, forgiving, waiting, that you're now learning how to live from a place of choice rather than reaction, and that transition can feel disorienting, like standing still while everything inside you rearranges. But listen to this, don't scroll, because that stillness is not stagnation, it's grounding, it's the moment where your nervous system finally exhales after years of bracing for impact. This message is for you because you've been noticing how your body reacts before your mind catches up, how peace feels expansive and anxiety feels tight, how certain conversations drain you while others leave you feeling centered, and that awareness is not accidental, it's the result of growth, the kind of growth that teaches you to trust sensation as information rather than something to override or ignore. Don't scroll, because the signs around you have been steady and specific. Numbers repeating when you're reflecting on your direction, moments of synchronicity that feel almost personal, sudden insights that arrive when you least expect them, emotional releases that feel cleansing instead of overwhelming, and these are not random occurrences, they are signals that you are integrating lessons rather than repeating them, and integration is where transformation becomes permanent. Your heart needs this right now because you may still be carrying quiet doubts, wondering if choosing calm means you're settling, if letting go means you're giving up, if slowing down means you're falling behind. But listen to this, peace is not the absence of passion, it's the presence of safety, and safety is what allows passion to last without burning you out. This message is for you because you're learning that love doesn't have to feel like survival, that connection doesn't have to come with constant uncertainty, that being chosen doesn't require you to abandon yourself, and that realization changes the way you show up energetically, making you more grounded, more selective, more magnetic without trying. Don't scroll, because there is a recalibration happening in how you relate to others, and you may notice that some connections feel quieter, more distant, or naturally fading, not because something went wrong, but because alignment is correcting itself, and what once required effort to maintain no longer fits the frequency you're holding. Your heart needs this right now because letting go, even gently, can stir grief, nostalgia, or second-guessing, and that doesn't mean you made the wrong choice, it means you cared deeply, and caring deeply is not a flaw, it's a strength that simply needed boundaries. Listen to this, don't scroll, because boundaries are not walls, they are filters, and filters allow what's aligned to enter while letting what's incompatible pass through without drama, and that's the energy you're cultivating now, calm, discerning, open but protected. This message is for you because you're being prepared for a level of connection that matches your growth, not your wounds, someone who doesn't need you to over-explain or overextend, someone who meets your presence with presence, your honesty with honesty, your calm with calm, and when that connection arrives, it will feel less like fireworks and more like familiarity, less like urgency and more like ease. Don't scroll, because ease can feel strange when you're used to intensity, and your nervous system may need time to adjust to consistency, but consistency is not boring, it's stabilizing, and stabilization is where trust grows naturally. Your heart needs this right now because the universe is responding to the way you've been choosing yourself lately, even in small ways. The pauses before you react, the moments you honor your intuition, the decisions you make quietly without needing validation, and those choices are shifting your trajectory more than you realize. Listen to this, don't scroll, because you may soon notice life meeting you with less resistance, conversations flowing more easily, opportunities arising without force, connections forming without effort, and that's not luck, it's resonance. It's what happens when your inner alignment starts reflecting outward. This message is for you because patience has been one of your greatest teachers, even when you resented the lesson, and patience taught you to sit with uncertainty without losing yourself, to trust timing without demanding proof, to hold hope without clinging, and those skills are now becoming the foundation for what's next. Don't scroll, because the universe is not asking you to strive harder, it's asking you to soften into trust, to allow rather than chase, to receive rather than convince, and receiving requires vulnerability, but not the kind that abandons self-respect, the kind that honors it. Your heart needs this right now because there will be moments ahead where old patterns try to resurface, where familiarity calls louder than alignment, where nostalgia paints the past in softer colors, and in those moments, remember how far you've come, remember the peace you've built, remember that comfort is not always safety and intensity is not always love. Listen to this, don't scroll, because choosing peace is not giving up on excitement, it's choosing a kind of excitement that doesn't cost you your well-being, and that choice sets a new standard for every relationship and opportunity that follows. This message is for you because you are stepping into a phase where your worth is no longer something you argue for, it's something you embody quietly, and that embodiment shifts everything. It changes how people respond to you, how situations unfold, how life meets you halfway. Don't scroll, because the calm you're feeling is not emptiness, it's readiness, the space where intention becomes form, where alignment becomes attraction, where what's meant for you can finally arrive without obstruction. Your heart needs this right now because you are not behind, not late, not missing out, you are exactly where your growth has positioned you to be, and what's coming will recognize the version of you that chose honesty over illusion, peace over performance, alignment over attachment. Listen to this, don't scroll, stay present with this feeling, because this is the steadiness that precedes meaningful change, the grounding that allows joy to take root, the clarity that guides you forward without force, and as you move ahead, trust that what aligns with your peace will stay, what challenges it will reveal itself, and what is meant for you will meet you without confusion, because you didn't come this far to repeat the past. You came this far to live differently, and that difference begins now, quietly, intentionally, and exactly as it should. Don't scroll. Stay right here with me, because if you've reached this moment, it's not by accident, and your heart needs this right now in a way that goes beyond curiosity and straight into recognition, the kind where your chest feels tight and calm at the same time, because something inside you knows this is a closing and an opening all at once. And listen to this, this message is for you. Especially if you've been feeling like you're standing at the edge of something new but you don't quite see it yet. Everything you've been through recently, the emotional ups and downs, the quiet realizations, the sudden detachment from things that once consumed you, has been guiding you here, to this internal moment of truth where you finally stop questioning whether your intuition is real and start trusting it without apology, and your heart needs this right now because trusting yourself hasn't always felt safe in the past, especially when you were taught to prioritize harmony over honesty, comfort over clarity, and connection over self-respect. But that chapter is ending, gently but firmly, and listen to this, don't scroll, because endings that matter rarely announce themselves loudly, they settle in quietly, like a deep breath you didn't realize you were holding finally being released. You've been learning how to sit with yourself without distraction, how to feel emotions without immediately fixing them, how to allow uncertainty without letting it consume you, and that emotional maturity is not small, it's foundational, because it changes the way you love, the way you choose, the way you move forward, and this message is for you because you're no longer the version of yourself who stays out of fear, who waits for potential to turn into reality, who confuses attachment with alignment, and that realization may feel bittersweet, because growth often requires grieving what once felt like home even when it was hurting you. Don't scroll, because this matters. What's ahead of you will not arrive with chaos or urgency, it will arrive with clarity, steadiness, and recognition feels different than pursuit, it feels like being met rather than chased, understood rather than explained, chosen rather than tolerated, and your heart needs this right now because you've spent too long wondering if you were asking for too much when in reality you were just asking the wrong places. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your nervous system is recalibrating, learning what safety feels like instead of constantly preparing for disappointment, and that recalibration can feel strange, even unsettling, because peace can feel unfamiliar when you're used to intensity, but unfamiliar doesn't mean wrong, it means new, and new requires trust. Don't scroll, because the universe has been responding to the way you've been choosing yourself lately, not in dramatic gestures, but in quiet decisions, the moments you paused instead of reacting, the times you listened to your gut instead of your fear, the boundaries you set without needing to explain yourself, and those moments are stacking, creating a foundation for what's next. Your heart needs this right now because the waiting you endured wasn't punishment, it was preparation, the silence wasn't absence, it was protection, and the confusion wasn't failure, it was redirection, and when you look back on this season, you'll realize it taught you discernment, patience, and self-trust, qualities that make aligned love and aligned opportunities sustainable rather than fleeting. Listen to this, don't scroll. There will be moments ahead where nostalgia tries to pull you backward, where familiarity feels tempting, where old patterns knock quietly and ask for another chance, and in those moments, remember how far you've come, remember how much energy it took to heal, remember that you don't need to revisit lessons you've already learned just because they feel known. This message is for you because you're stepping into a phase of your life where your peace becomes non-negotiable, where your time becomes sacred, where your energy becomes intentional, and that shift may change the dynamics around you. Some people will rise to meet you, others will drift away, and neither outcome is wrong, it's alignment doing its work. Don't scroll, because what's meant for you will not require you to shrink, to overgive, or to silence your needs, it will meet you where you are and grow with you, and that kind of connection, romantic, spiritual, or otherwise, feels calm in the body, clear in the mind, and steady in the heart, and you will recognize it immediately because it won't ask you to prove your worth. Your heart needs this right now because you are learning that excitement doesn't have to come from unpredictability, that passion doesn't have to come with anxiety, that love doesn't have to feel like survival, and that learning is changing what you attract without you even trying. Listen to this, don't scroll. The signs you've been seeing, the repeated numbers, the meaningful coincidences, the sudden clarity, the emotional releases, they weren't there to confuse you, they were there to reassure you that you're on the right path even when the destination isn't fully visible yet, and trust grows not from certainty, but from consistency, from choosing alignment again and again even when it's uncomfortable. This message is for you because the next chapter of your life will feel different from the last, not because it's perfect, but because it's intentional, and intention changes everything. It slows you down enough to notice what feels right, it grounds you enough to say no without guilt, it opens you enough to receive without fear. Don't scroll, because you're entering a season where things begin to meet you halfway, where effort feels mutual, where conversations feel natural, where opportunities don't require force, and that ease is not coincidence, it's resonance. It's what happens when your inner world and outer world start speaking the same language. Your heart needs this right now because doubt may still visit from time to time, fear may still whisper old stories, but those voices no longer drive your decisions, they simply pass through, and that's growth, that's freedom, that's self-trust taking root. Listen to this, don't scroll. When the right connection enters your life, it will feel less like fireworks and more like familiarity, less like urgency and more like presence, less like proving and more like being, and you won't have to ask if it's real because your body will already know. This message is for you because you are not behind, you are not late, and you are not missing out. You are exactly where your growth has placed you. And what's meant for you will meet you at this level, not the level you've outgrown. Don't scroll, stay with this feeling, because this is the grounding that comes after transformation, the steadiness that follows healing, the quiet confidence that no longer needs validation, and as you move forward, remember this. You don't need to chase what's aligned, you don't need to force what's meant for you, and you don't need to fear what's unfolding, because what's unfolding recognizes you just as much as you're learning to recognize it, and that mutual recognition is where peace, love, and purpose finally settle in, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply, steadily, and exactly on time.